Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS and the inventor of the CTKS method and BORSOG trading. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back KS family. From my 30 plus years in financial markets, I explain the smart money mindset to assist you to be more of a financial blessing to yourself and those you love, gaining real wealth and positive excellence in the process. Please note, I don't have WhatsApp or Telegram. Let's run the numbers. Bitcoin is currently up 0.56% to 16,636. Ethereum is up 0.95% to 12,001. You can make it a study to look at the news headlines and just compare them day on day. Yesterday, it was all doom and gloom because the market was red. Today, all the news headlines are green. And we can see the probability of a 25 basis point increase in the federal funds rate, which will be in about 34 days, has actually increased from 67.8% yesterday to 71.3% today. We also saw Tesla putting in a really good performance, up 8.08%. A lot of people were anticipating that Tesla would just crumble and collapse, but that's not what we saw. Looking at Objective Dynamic Market Structure, or ODMS, through the CTKS Method Standards Certification process, we saw that there was a strong support line, a strong smart money buy level at 104.71, and the smart money did in fact come in and buy. The next resistance above is 130 and 30 cents. This is why it's so important to understand where the smart money is stepping in. We were not caught by surprise at all with Tesla's recovery. The next major challenge is the 130 and 30 cent mark. The other thing that we've seen in the SPX or the S&P 500 is that we're actually leaving this smart money buy area. Basically, the sellers are getting exhausted and we can see multiple trend changes in this particular price action. What we're actually anticipating is more positive upside momentum based on this technical analysis. If you would like to join the 5% who know and leave behind the 95% who guess, just pop across to www.ctksmethod.org. There are two levels of certification that you can go through, level 1 and level 2. And these also come with certificates of completion and a very, very specially discounted price. Just make sure you press this button to lock that in. What a New Year's special! If you want to go on an incredibly deep dive, the CTKS Masterclass also has level 1 and level 2 certification in the LV section, but it's much, much more expensive. We can see the E-mini S&P 500 futures just bounding between the range. They're currently 38.66 and 50 cents. They're coming towards a smart money buy level at 38.63, and they're bounded in this particular range at 38.83. If we find our way above the 38.83, there's not much resistance between that and the next smart money sell level, which is 39.25. We always have to do our three-dimensional risk management. And we stay in sync with the market, and we need to do this because when you're out of sync, the market is taking money from you and distributing it to people that have synchronization scores, which are very high. What you want to do is to get your synchronization up, but you do so scientifically. There's a definite process, method, and methodology and structure behind doing this. First of all, we say, what did the market do? Well, it went up. What will it do tomorrow? We need to assess that by stacking probabilities. How will your portfolio get hit? And there's a little explanation here of what this particular code means and how in synchronization with the market do you feel. And we do this code each and every day because we know we control the trade or investment, but the market controls the return, and the returns are always based on your active learning, your knowledge plus your courage. And markets also penalize blame and gambling, zone 1 and zone 2 activities, so we don't go there. They're far too expensive. the smart money buy and sell levels on the euro, and it's important to actually look at the euro and the DXY as well, because they do drive markets. The euro is currently 1.06609. We have a smart money support level where the smart money will buy at 106,380, a stronger one at 106,235, and a strong one, reasonably strong one below that at 106,135. The next smart money sell level is at 107,061. And I want to say thank you to all the people who reached out yesterday and said going through the euro with these CTKS Method Standards lines on it. And these are drawn up through all of price history, not just recent price history, was really, really helpful. Thanks so much, everyone, for reaching out and letting me know. Looking at the markets in the past trading session, we can see the VIX came down a little bit, but it's still in an upward trajectory. It's overcome resistance just through this particular section. It's almost come back and retested and potentially resumed upwards. If we see a big spike in the VIX, we could see a big drop in the markets. We've talked about this for quite some time. One thing to take note of, the put-call ratio is this white line behind this yellow line. This yellow line is junk bonds. The put-call ratio basically measures how much, well, investors feel in terms of bullish or bearish. When they're very bearish, you get a spike in the PCC or the put-call ratio. When they're very bullish, you get a spike down in the PCC. I find that it's really good to overlay junk bonds across the PCC. We cover the PCC every day, and to the people that were paying attention, the PCC spiked yesterday. And we can see the PCC came all the way up, and this rivals this particular point of time where the markets were selling down really, really harshly. I've just zoomed into this particular area to give you an understanding of what the S&P 500 was doing. As we got that big spike in the put-call ratio, we saw the market selling down. They were in free fall. They actually took out a lower low here and sliced through everything. And why was that? Because the world was actually shutting down because of C19. There was absolute and utter widespread panic in the market. So what's this gold line here? That's Bitcoin. And you can see Bitcoin just sliced through that lower support level, came down and just resumed and bottomed out first before the S&P 500 bottomed out. And then with all the massive stimulus, it just was a surefire recipe for prices to go up. What are we actually seeing right now? Of course, there's been a very big spike in the PCC to rival what happened during the C19 sell-off. But look at the different dynamic structure inside the market. What we're looking at here is the S&P 500 or the SPX. And we already know from our analysis of that the smart money has come in and bought. And they've bought very, very well. I'll just show you again. You can see it here. The smart money has actually come in and bought this range, the 37.66 to the 38.27, and we're overcoming levels of resistance as well. This is actually a really healthy sign for the S&P 500. But let's have a look at Bitcoin. We can see that Bitcoin, this gold line, Bitcoin is definitely weaker, but it's not collapsing. Let me take you back to that sell-off. Going back to March 2020, we can see the markets were already selling off and selling off hard. There was a lot of panic inside the market and the markets were coming down and down. And you note that Bitcoin actually predicted the turnaround in the stock market, and it's done this several times. That's why if you're in the stock market and you're not looking at Bitcoin, you're making a big mistake because it can throw a lot of risk-on signals. Before I draw a summary on what's happening with the PCC, just remember what happened with Tesla. Tesla was coming down. The markets were very red. All of the news headlines said, well, Tesla's going to zero, basically. And we saw, no, there's structural support inside the market at 104.71. If anything, the smart money will come in and buy because it's getting a really, really good discount. And all price moves in a wave. You can see it all the time, moves in a wave, up and down, up and down. This is the way that the markets work. Now, why am I talking about this? Because it's critically important to understand how the markets intercorrelate with each other. When we look at the S&P 500, the SPX, we see all of this smart money buy area just through here, 37.66 to 38.27. And the S&P 500 is currently 38.49. So long as we stay in this green area, or much better yet, above it, that's actually pointing towards a potential market bottom, because we can get a lot of spikes in the PCC that are contrarian by nature. When everybody's leaning on one side of the boat, well, it's time to go across to the other side of the boat, or else you'll sink. That's just a really good analogy to say when everybody is thinking in a certain direction, wow, everything is fantastic, it's time to probably think a little bit more negative. And when everybody is thinking so negative, it's probably a time to think more positive. And that's why we look at objective dynamic market structure. We don't want to get caught into news stories and headlines. They'll just make you lose sleep at night. And they're like a basket case. Actually, if you go back and look at yesterday's news headlines in the first 30 seconds of the video, compare them to the first 30 seconds of news headlines in this video, you would think you're on a different planet. That's why I said understanding is a critical thing to have. What's the conclusion here? So long as we hold 37.70, this particular smart money buy area, everything is fine. It's just all chugging along. But if we're going to start losing that support, that's not the best. But from 36, I'll just pop it on, from 36.26 up to 37.22 is not the best, but it's actually just neutral. It still would be a higher low for the S&P 500. But if we go down into the red area, if we start to lose that 36.26, okay, that is a potential problem. And if you would like to learn how to mark up your charts with the CTKS Method Standards Certification process, just pop across to ctksmethod.org. Investing in yourself is very, very important. People will put tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into the SPX, the SPY, but they won't actually spend a couple of $100s to educate themselves for life. That's really bad. You need your education. It's absolutely critical. And why is that? If you know what the market structure is, and this is not formed from recent price activity, this is formed from all of price activity, you just elevate yourself to the professional level. You will know what smart money knows, and therefore you can do what smart money does. That's way better than doing what retail does. Turning to the crypto market, because it's so important to understand how Bitcoin price moves relative to the markets. And when we look at the NASDAQ, we can see the NASDAQ here in blue, and we can see that Bitcoin is basically following the directional movements. One thing, statistically, it doesn't have to have a one-to-one relationship. It just must move in approximately the same direction, just echoing the negatives and the positives, but not perfectly. If you expect perfect correlation out of disjoint financial markets, you will continuously be disappointed. Markets are really, really complex, and they're deliberately designed to be so. We can see a smart money resistance on Bitcoin is at 16,661. Currently, Bitcoin is 16,616. It's not far below it. Looking into the options market, we've got an expiration tomorrow of $2.36 billion worth of Bitcoin options and a max pain of 18,500. Bitcoin's price is impacted by many things, but the max pain can actually give us some indication. Until recently, we saw a very underwhelming lack of conviction by the shorts, and the shorts are starting to gather a bit of pace. They're starting to come up, but the longs are also starting to pile into the market. When we look at liquidations for the past 24 hours, we can see 39.36 million in liquidations across 20,182 positions. And when looking at the 24-hour total liquidations, about 63% were long. What about 12 hours? 65% long. 4 hours? 80% short. And what about the past hour? Oh, it's gone the other way. 54% long. And when we look just overall, we can see the volumes are still quite low. They're a little bit better than what they used to be, but they're still very, very low. The greatest gainers over the past 24 hours, Bit out in front, followed by TON, TWT, Ethereum Classic, BSV, SHIB, and GMX. The greatest losers in the top 100 from the past 24 hours, HOT, Kava, Chain, USDN, XRP, HBAR, and Mana. When I look at this chart, which is stablecoin market capitalization, and we discuss this a lot inside the masterclass, I see some very, very good indications that money is coming back into the market. For example, in Tether's market capitalization, we can see a push upwards. This is coming at the expense of Binance. People have been finding Binance and asking a lot of questions. They're not too happy with CZ at the moment, and that's because of Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Understandably, BUSD has been hit. But you can see some uptick in Tether and some uptick in Circle as well. Generally, when you get stablecoin inflows into the crypto market, this actually is followed by buying activity. BUSD, of course, is the outlier here because it's so big. If I zoom in a little bit more, you can see the dynamics here. Just about $1 billion, well, a little over $1 billion of Tether market capitalization has flown into the market. And when masterclass students, if you want to find this, it's in TM15. We know that no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. It's absolutely critical to look at Bitcoin. And I had a really interesting comment in the comment section of yesterday's video, and it was Bitcoin pairing. Masterclass students, please refresh your memory. Episode 32 in the foundation section, ETH BTC pairs. There's a lot of traps in pairing. That particular video goes into a deep dive and shows you a practical application of what to avoid. The CTKS method actually pioneered Bitcoin alt gearing, and that is a superior form of how to look at Bitcoin relative to any specific alt. And this is actually discussed at length inside the masterclass. What we do here is we just look at Bitcoin's gravitational pull. How is Bitcoin moving? This becomes a fingerprint. We overlay that fingerprint onto Ethereum. And what do we actually notice? Ethereum is following Bitcoin's fingerprint, and this is the way that all things work. What about stable coins? We've got Tether, we've got USDC, and we've got BUSD. This I'm just covering for your information. We just want to see if there are any spikes. And one thing to note, stable coins have never ever been stable. And if you're inside the masterclass checking out TM14, stablecoins are not really stable, part 1 and part 2 in TM15 is a really good idea. We can see BNB basically just aligning with the up and down directional correlation between Bitcoin and Binance Coin. But it's just Binance Coin is just a bit stronger. And we can see XRP has been selling down. XRP was doing very, very well, but we always know no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. XRP was just pulled in the direction of Bitcoin, and this happens all the time. We see it forever. And what about Doge? Doge is moving with directional correlation to Bitcoin. You can see it very evidently. What we look at as professionals is to see when we've got divergence from Bitcoin's gravity, and you can see it here with SHIB. I'll just point it out to you. Let's have a look at ADA, just following Bitcoin's gravitational pull, as is Matic. DAI is a stable coin. DOT is following. We can see Tron gets a little bit choppy, inverts and then correlates. That's the nature of Tron. Tron tends to do its own thing. Litecoin was doing incredibly well and then just came back into correlation, and this is what we're seeing. SHIB is looking very, very interesting at the moment. So let's keep our eye on SHIB. And if we're keeping our eye on SHIB, we want to keep our eye on the memes. For example, Doge, people, this particular area inside the heat map. Always keep in mind, Rule 45, no alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. But more importantly is Rule 225 from the Masterclass. Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. We've looked at the PCC, we've looked at the SPX, we've looked at a lot of different things. Please let me know in the comments, what is your stacking of probabilities on where you think the market is going tomorrow? As a community, we subscribe to positive excellence. You can see all of these green words are just like a to-be list. The more green that you tick, the more green will be in your pocket. New Year's Eve is fast approaching globally, and it's a time of looking back on the past year, but more so a time of looking forward into the future and thinking, what do you want to be? As part of the CTKS Creed, we always say, I never let a problem beat me, I solve it with positive excellence. This is very, very important. Throughout your life, you'll have nothing but problems, but those challenges are meant to make you shine. That's why I am dedicated and committed. I win or learn and never blame is so important to abide by. All results come from the mind, so a better mind creates better results. In fact, it's the only thing that can create better results, a better mind. So how do you get a better mind? Just whip into positive excellence and start ticking off your to-be list. And please let me know in the comments, what do you want to be in 2023? Wow, I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. Apologies, dear family. The reason that I'm so late today in creating this video, my dear mum, my 90-year-old mother, had a fall. That's resulted in Kate and I coordinating with medical personnel to try to treat mum. And if you find yourself in a life pullback at the moment, please know that our global family's love and healing thoughts are with you. You're not alone. These things happen to us all, but they make us more loving, more kind, and that's what's really important, so long as we handle them with positive excellence. No matter what, I'm here every single day for you, as is Kate. And I appreciate, and Kate does too, all your comments. It's just so beautiful. And well done, Rundle Ridge. Unfortunately, Kate and I just have to get going, but I wanted to say a very, very big thank you to everyone. And especially to Oscar. Oscar was on fire in the comments yesterday. Hi Rudy, I hope the PCC coverage helped out, my friend. Part of the CTKS method is the CTKS Creed, which primes our mind for profitability and happiness in life. These are a series of positive affirmation statements you just say to yourself. They're important because they get rid of fear and install courage. Acting on fear creates the fear. We don't want to do that. We need to act with courage, but also knowledge. Here is the creed. I know the universe wants me to succeed. Every day I show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. I know opportunities in life reset daily. I am worthy. I go slow to go fast. I start small and scale with BORSOG. Life pullbacks give me the strength for the next life rally. I am dedicated and committed. I win or learn and never blame. And I never let a problem beat me because I solve it with positive excellence. If you have family or friends who could benefit from positive excellence and what we do here each and every day, please introduce them to our community by sharing a video. We'd love to see them here. We have one of the best communities on YouTube. Stay safe out there, my friends. Take care and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.